Now I got chat engaged. I want to remind everybody here on Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour, we love to get your questions and comments. So you can throw your questions and comments on down. Today, we are breaking quarantine a little bit. This is Dave Nelson again on Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour. It's 4 o'clock on Monday, and that means we're going to be doing a little cooking. But today, I am in someone else's kitchen. I am in Chef Carissa Jones' kitchen, and we are going to be talking about pickles again. Okay, last week I did fermentation and I pickled some things, if you want to call it that, but this week we're doing quick pickles, or what I want to call TurboPickle 2.0. That's what we're talking about today. Okay, we're bringing in Chef Carissa J. Jones, Sacramento County Office of Education Teacher of the Year, I should say. And so I'm really, really thrilled to get together with her, especially in her own kitchen, because every time I come over here, she puts on an unbelievable spread. You won't believe it, okay? But today, we're talking about quick pickles, as I said. Now, before we get into this pickle, I should talk a little bit about this, and we're going to talk a little bit more through the presentation, but we're doing acidic pickling today only. That's what we're talking about. If you are doing pickling in low acid environments, we are talking about the potential for a lot of toxicity and botulism and death and horrible things happening. Who knows what we might release on top of coronavirus, okay? And so we are only talking about making things like pickles. If you want to do something low acid, like a jar of applesauce or something like that, not much acidity to it, it's a whole other process that we need to get into with temperature ranges that you need to hit to make it safe to eat, okay? I don't want to get too much deeper into that, okay? I am going to turn it over to Chef Carissa, and we are going to she's going to lay down some pickling techniques, because I will be honest, this is something I do not know much about. So let me switch it around on you with the magic of film. And let me bring on Chef Carissa. There she is. Whoop, whoop. She's so awesome. There she goes. Chef Carissa, what the heck are we doing today?
So we're going to go through a couple of different pickling techniques. We're going to do dill pickles. We're going to do bread and butter pickles, which is always one of my favorites. I'm not really a sweet pickle fan anymore, but I really love bread and butters. Over the last few years, I've been doing Firecracker pickles, which is an Alton Brown recipe that I've kind of modified.
Alton Brown, I've never heard of them.
I love that, man. Like, when it comes to the Food Network, there's like one person, maybe two, that I actually will watch and not yell at the TV and throw things at it. Have my husband call in the asylum. But it's a great way to make like little snack pickles. Let's see, we're also going to do some pickled red onion. Tomorrow is Taco Tuesday, so a little pickled red onion, always nice with that. Add some brightness to those nice fatty meats. Let me see. Oh, some pickled fennel with a little bit of orange, some pickled okra. And several of these are going to use exactly the same kind of dill pickle base, so you'll really get variation. One of the reasons why I like doing these dill pickles is because come wintertime and football season, assuming we have any sort of a football season ever again.
Go sports.
I like Bloody Marys, and I like having interesting pickled things in my Bloody Marys. So I'll do some pickled okra, we're not going to do pickled green beans today, but I've got some for you to look at that I did earlier in the summer. And then we'll talk about kind of where to find some of these odds and ends and how to play around with the different flavorings and the acidity that you need to watch out for.
Hey, okay. Just
okay.
A couple of people out there are watching. Chef Adrian, colleague of yours. Yeah. I gotta say, this is why I want to have Chef Carissa on here. She is so awesome. She's going to be laying down so much cool stuff today. And I gotta say, I have to say, I'm going to bring up the Teacher of the Year thing for Sacramento County Office of Education. You know, you ever see the movie Goodfellas? And you know when Joe Pesci kind of gets into the mob, you know, and it's like the rest of the guys are like, you know what? He's in the mob now. He got made. We got made too. I know, like myself and all of us guys that work with TV4, we feel like we got made because you got made. It is so awesome to see.
Well, it's so great because I met Dave and Adrian and Scott Rice and Michael Taylor and Justin, who was on last week, all at Le Cordon Bleu. And it's amazing how our lives have continued intersecting. Sacramento is a really small town.
Absolutely.
And everyone knows everyone. There's really only 2 degrees of separation. So word to the wise, don't talk smack about people behind their back. It'll get back to him.
That's a good lesson. That's a good lesson. Well, let's get into some pickles.
Okay. So we're going to start off with our dill pickles and our bread and butter pickles because those both need to kind of sit in a little bit of salt, kind of like Dave was showing last week, help pull out some of that water so that we can replace it with vinegar and do some fun stuff. So we have pickling cucumbers here. Pickling cucumbers this year have been a little bit challenging to find. I wound up finding these at KP Market, which is like the heaven for chefs. It's the most amazing place out on Folsom Boulevard in Rancho Cordova. So I have a stack of these. I'm going to do some dill pickle spears. And let's just kind of chop our ends off because those lead to bitterness. And I'm just going to quarter these.
I'll just say that KP Market, if you guys haven't been out there, you have to check it out. Your mouth will be hanging open behind your mask for the entire time you're walking around. They have so much variety from around the world and so many great deals and so much abundance. It'll blow your mind. You have to go check it out if you've never been out there.
It's a toy store for people that love food.
And who doesn't love food? Everybody eats.
Yeah. And hard to find things like duck. Their fish counter is amazing. They have all sorts of halal products if that's a concern for you. So there are lots of fun options out there. Okay, I am going to grab a bowl here, put my pickles in. Now is the perfect time to talk to you about salt. So
I love it. We were talking about salt last week.
Yeah, so we have all sorts of different kinds of salt. We have sea salt, and then we have our usual kosher salt. But what we're going to want to use is the canning salt, canning and pickling salt. And here's why. The kosher salt and the sea salt, even though I use both and love them, the pickling salt and the canning salt is going to lead to a clearer finished solution. So if you don't have the canning salt, it is pretty cheap salt in general. You could like shoot for the moon and you're still getting a pretty cheap product. The canning and pickling salt is like $3 for the whole
Are there
box.
other things you could use with canning and pickling salt? Not necessarily.
I pretty much stick to just the canning and the pickling. Again, we don't need to use any sort of a recipe. I kind of use a healthy handful, maybe a little more than a healthy handful. Toss that around, and what we're trying to do is get salt on all of those cut surfaces. And this is going to be pulling, like you can see there's salt crusted all over there.
I should mention that you are not messing around with the salt there, girl.
No,
Yeah.
we're going crazy.
She's throwing tons in. Did you measure that salt?
No, just
She just threw it in, people.
Palm of my hand.
She is just out of control. It is nice. This is cool.
Right. Okay. So now we're going to do some bread and butters. So, you know, I know tuna sandwiches are not super exciting, but
I love a tuna sandwich.
yeah, good.
Oh
A good like patty melt, tuna melt in the middle of the winter time does it for me. I tend to have like weird cravings sometimes.
Can I say, when I do tuna salad, I'm throwing a ton of punch into it, including pickles.
Yeah. Yeah. So I want to actually do some thin slices so that I can just layer these in so that I can maybe have pickles on the bottom and then pile the tuna on top and then put the cheese on top of that and then put it under the broiler so that I kind of get these layers, get this nice toasted bread and then some pickly crunch.
You seem to know your tuna sandwiches, if I may say. So when you said you were going to slice them, you didn't say you were going to go long ways.
Yes, I'm going to go long ways.
It just makes so much sense for a
because
sandwich.
there we've got 2 pieces, maybe 3, depending on the size of your bread. You've got sandwich.
Beautiful.
Were
I love it.
Were those super even? No.
You know, I'm very big on rustic. I really am. I like rustic, chunky, pointy.
food.
Oh, I totally do. That's always been my thing. I have to have it.
I just
Pointy.
heard about an ice cream company in Oakland called Chunky Butt.
You know what? You can't. It's all about marketing.
Yep.
Who is going to say no to chonky butt
Yeah.
ice cream?
And it wasn't vegan, and God love all the vegans out there, but you know what? Vegan ice cream just kind of makes me a little sad. Like, I want all the fat.
I suppose I'm interested in it on a professional level, just wondering how they make that sort of thing.
Yes.
Because
yes.
I am still just a basics guy. I know how to make it out of ice cream materials.
Yes, all the custards. Love the custard base. By the way, any of my industry pro friends out there that may be watching this, two things. One, I'm wearing my wedding ring. Two, I have my fingernails painted. Welcome to quarantine. For the first time in 15 years, I have been able to have my fingernails painted. And yeah, it's cheaper than going out and getting it. Not to mention you can't go out and get it. And I'm kind of enjoying being a little bit of a girl at times.
I gotta say that while I'm not really enjoying being a girl, I am kind of an official gal pal, I think. But yeah, I gotta say, as I'm doing these quarantine classes, I gotta keep telling myself, hey, I'm not cooking for the general public. You know, last week the pickle class was all about getting dirty, right? I had big conversations about, you know, leave a little of funk on there so we have a little natural yeast in the mix. All right, looks like we got Diane out there and Alicia. Oh, Kathy is out there. Thanks for watching, Kathy.
So I have to show really quickly, the salt that's at the bottom of the bowl here is already starting to get wet.
Check that out.
And that's been like minutes.
Yeah.
So our dill pickle spears are already starting to flow.
I don't know if you saw it, but it's actually starting to flow. The salt was flowing. There's that much water in there. Yeah. It's amazing. Salt goes in, water comes out. Osmosis. I don't want to get too deep into it, but
science.
It's science. I try to avoid too much science.
Love the science.
But it is what it is. That's what it is. Yeah. All right, so you got B&Bs going and you got some dill spears going.
Yes. So I think now might be a good time to talk about our brines. We're going to talk about our bread and butter pickle brine, which actually has some sugar in it, and that versus our dill pickle brine. Let's start off with the dill. We're going to make a big batch of that. So I'm going to grab the big pot. There are no brand endorsements here, but I bought 2 big jugs. I always have these. I always have gallons of vinegar. Notice how it specifically says 5% acidity. That is exactly what we're going for.
Are you guys hearing these details here? That's important.
Yeah. So you can do rice wine vinegar, but you also need to have a higher acidity vinegar. So we're going to be using the white vinegar.
That's the real stuff.
The real stuff.
Yeah, different vinegars have very, very different acid levels. So you want to check those.
Okay. So my oh so fancy measuring, the ratio that we're going to be doing is 2 parts of vinegar, 1 part of water. So this is a quart container. Sometimes we call it a deli. I'm really big on calling it what it is and the measurements in it because I teach children. Well, they're high school students. So yeah, so I really am big on what is a quart? Get me a quart container, because if I ask for a pint, you bring me a quart, I automatically have lost confidence in your knowledge. So we're going to start off with 2 quarts of vinegar.
By the way, this doesn't have to be quarts. I think that's what you were just saying.
You could do 2 pints. You could do 2 teacups.
Can we just do a shout out for deli containers though? They're so wonderful. We use them for everything. They stack together so nicely. I was using the lids last week to weigh down my fermentation in the kitchen, in my crockery.
So it doesn't matter how nice and how upscale your restaurant is. I have seen pictures of chefs from the French Laundry sitting on milk crates, drinking milk out of a pint container with their cookies at family meal. Like, it is a kitchen universal.
Yeah, you better believe it.
I'm not going to use any sort of fancy water. I'm just using tap water.
I was talking last week about in the ferments, you want to kind of let your water sit so you don't have the chlorine in it. But in these cooking preparations, we're evaporating that chlorine out pretty quickly, I would think.
And we're bringing it up to a boil.
Absolutely. It's going to be gone.
We don't need to fuss and muss.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is so cool.
Let's talk about flavorings. I'm gonna set our
I like
vinegar
flavor.
off to the side. Okay. All sorts of fun little bits and bobs.
Do a technical thing on this side. Glug, glug.
Glug, glug. Excellent. Happy cocktail hour.
Happy quarantine kitchen happy hour, everybody. I'm very happy to be here with Ms. Carissa J. Jones.
Okay. Before we get too much further, again,
Before we get too excited about that.
I have finally
Look at all
mastered the quarantine hair.
Oh.
I have nice big fatty curls. My hair is just ornery enough. I've got to pull it back. I just can't anymore.
Yeah, mine's just blowing in the breeze back here. I'm just looking at all of these ingredients. You've got some very cool chili peppers going on there.
Okay, so I have some garlic that I got from the farmer's market. Some Costco brand black pepper. My husband likes putting turmeric in his shakes, like his morning shakes with protein. Yeah.
Everybody's wild about the turmeric.
Caraway seeds. Quick little shout out to the Allspicery.
Oh, can we shout out to them, please?
Yeah.
We love those guys.
Any sort of like crazy herbs or spices that you're having trouble finding, they are the place. Caraway seeds are really great if you're doing kind of a quick pickle that maybe kind of sauerkraut-ish.
Used them last week.
Yes, exactly.
Our friend, the caraway seed.
I'm not going to be using them today, but absolutely. Anytime we, yes, some of us do just buy our sauerkraut. We always put in a little bit of beer, a little bit of caraway seeds, heat it up. Let's see, we've got some dill seed. These little canning jars are kind of awesome. Get the teeny tiny dill seeds. You can almost.
That's celery seed?
Celery seed.
That's celery.
Celery seed, not dill seed. I've got dill seed over here.
Celery's super tiny. Here's the dill.
There's the
funky
dill.
And flat looking.
Yeah, thank you.
Has little spots on it. They look like baby black-eyed peas.
Yes, little coriander seed.
That's your cilantro seed.
Cilantro seed.
Gotta throw that out there, everybody.
Mustard seed. You can't have any sort of pickling without mustard seed. It's not like a hard and fast rule, but for me, it's a hard and fast rule.
You should say those mustard seeds, they soften up. You can bite into a mustard seed. It's food. You can eat those.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
At one of the last restaurants I worked at, we did carpaccio that had pickled mustard seeds with it. It adds nice crunch. It's almost kind of like Tobacco caviar, like the little fish eggs.
Or any caviar. Yeah. I love the pop.
Peppers. I don't like my bread and butter pickles to be just sweet. So I've got some little pequeño peppers, little Mexican peppers, some chili flakes, always good. I go through more chili flakes, which is really ironic because I usually say that I have a baby mouth and I can't handle super spicy food, but the chili flakes, it's all about.
You don't always want black pepper too, right? You know, sometimes a little alternative is nice.
I'm not a huge fan of black pepper. These are chili, I always botch the name. Chillit-pin?
Chillit-pin?
Probably butchering it. Allspicery folks, definitely let me know how to pronounce it properly. These are native to the U.S., so they have a little bit of kick. Dave tasted one earlier and said it had a little lemony essence.
Kind of grassy or hay, like dry grass kind of flavor.
Little strawy.
And it was hot, we should say.
Yeah.
It was hot.
Oh, and I can't forget, I have some New Mexico chilies and some chili de árbol.
Okay, yeah, we were using those last week.
Yes.
Mine weren't as pretty as yours.
So
Allspicery.
Yeah, well, the New Mexico chilies I got from Produce Express. When I brought them in, they were soft and juicy like raisins.
Oh, wow.
They were so sexy.
That is really cool.
Yes.
You don't see that every day.
Just for consistency, I'm going to kind of do a little bit of measuring with a measuring spoon. I know, call me crazy. So let's do, this is going to be our dill pickle. We're going to do 3 tablespoons of the mustard seeds.
So you're not playing around. I kind of wish I threw a little more mustard in my sauerkraut last week.
It's all going to develop.
Yeah, I usually do, and I completely spaced that.
Dill seed, I'm just going to do
What's your celery seed?
For the love of God. Santa Maria.
I can give her grief. I know her.
Cilantro. Together. I'm going to do 2 of those. Yeah.
Cilantro, that was her coriander we said earlier. I'm going both ways.
Oh, such a pill. Such a pill. Now we're going with the dill.
Right. Lots of the dill.
Yeah, let's do it.
Because these are dill pickles.
Yeah, let's do 3 of those.
Yum.
Now, when we pack the rinsed off pickles, so right now the pickles are sitting with salt. We're going to rinse those off, and that's going to rinse away a lot of that salt. Trust me, the first time I did this, I kind of missed that step. Didn't know what I was doing. They were awful. Even a horse in desperate need of a salt lick would not have eaten these.
So we can all learn from your experience.
Please, for the love of God, learn from my experience.
I just learned.
Yeah. I am going to throw in 1 of the black peppers, just for hoots and giggles.
You've got a lot of peppers in there.
Yeah. Well, I haven't put any other peppers in yet.
Oh, okay.
So let's do a couple of the. No, we'll put those in later.
Arbors going in later.
Yes. And we want to put the turmeric.
A lot of people shouting out about that allspicery. Lots of people know about them, I guess.
I'm so glad, because when I talk to people and they're like, we have a spice shop in town. Oh, for the love of God. Yes. We have a spice shop in town. And we hadn't really until the allspicery came along. It was like hitting up the bulk food section at the co-op or
some other stores.
Yeah.
Dirty, dark bus into the store, right?
Yeah.
And you think about other countries, spices are like entire sections in every market. You see hundreds of them. They're everywhere. Is that an elephant garlic?
I went to the Oak Park Farmers Market this last week.
Where's that?
I asked for garlic, and I have never seen garlic quite like this.
I think they did the same thing to me. They gave me some elephant garlic. These are just bulbs of. They're like onions. Let's check that out.
No, I'm gonna taste a little bit because.
Is it like elephant garlic? They're just bulbs. That's one bulb of garlic. Elephant?
Santa Maria. Yeah, super garlicky.
Oh.
Well, it's good to know.
That's what the doctor ordered.
Also has a nice fresh flavor to it, so I'm okay with that. But wow, that will keep the vampires away. So before I start fiddling too much with the garlic, I'm gonna get this on the stove.
Okay. You might have seen those little chunks of turmeric and a few of those spices that didn't want to melt in. They're just floating around on the surface. But as it heats, those guys are going to start blending in. I'm
going to actually wind up packing these into canning jars, but we're not going to can it. So canning is actually going to be a process of heat processing. Heat processing one of 2 ways, either with pressure, like in a pressure cooker. I'm sure there's a way to do it with the Instapot. I haven't done it, just in case anyone's curious about that. I have not gone down the Instapot rabbit hole.
Nor have I. I've never worked with an Instapot.
Yeah, but the water bath canning is something that I've done, and I'm going to show you guys some finished products that I processed in a water bath canner. We are just literally talking about refrigerator pickles. So you just really need a clear, well, not even a clear, you need a clean container. It could be the deli containers. Used it tons of times. If I was in a restaurant and I had pickles, bread and butter pickles on the menu, I would be getting the empty mayonnaise containers and any empty clean container I could get to put those pickles in.
Yeah, so like a 5-gallon bucket or something like that, right? Yeah,
absolutely.
Anything like that. We're not really talking about canning today, even though we are kind of using canning jars.
Yeah. And
this is about making quick pickles.
I would be happy to talk about that at some point.
So Ruth is asking, what kind of pickles were we using again?
Canning pickles.
Canning pickles.
Like pickle
canning
pickles.
Cucumbers. Sorry.
Cucumbers. I think we all think of pickle as synonymous with cucumbers.
I was doing it all day the other day.
Yeah. And really, the pickles, the cucumber pickles is just the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
There are so many other types.
So for Ruth, it was the answer was pickling cucumbers.
Pickling cucumbers, yes.
And I had two colors of those the other day. I had yellow and green pickling cucumbers from
Oh,
Route
that's right,
64.
you did.
Yeah.
You did.
Johnny is mentioning that USDA advises against canning with the Instapot, people. Another reason that Instapot is evil. No, I've never met an Instapot. I don't know if they're evil.
Now, I definitely find that there's the complication of it's summertime in Sacramento, and the last thing we want to do is be introducing tons of more heat to our kitchens. So I actually have a propane burner on the back porch that we fire up and do all of my actual water bath canning in there just to simplify my life.
You've got that great big burner back there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I'm cutting up some yellow onion here. We're going to use this when we put our cucumbers in the canning jars. That's also, remember I was talking about the chilies? That's when I'm also going to put the chilies in. So we'll pack everything in.
So you're putting things together. Also the garlic, I see, you're putting that off to the side. Those aren't going into the brine. Those are just going to go into the canning jars. Correct. We're also throwing down some our bowl. Oh, that's what the chili you just mentioned.
Yep. Yeah. I will throw some.
I should be helping.
Garbage away. Nah.
Slacker.
Nah. Okay.
All right, little scene change, folks. It's Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour. We are loving life. We're here with Carissa J. Jones, and we are making quick pickles.
Now is a good time to have a sip.
There it is. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. Boom.
In person. Woohoo! Okay. So our bread and butter pickles. It's going to be a little bit sweet. I'm going to use a little bit of a mix of apple cider vinegar. And
now, is that kind of more common when you're doing the sweet pickles using an apple cider vinegar
just
as
opposed
to white?
A little bit sweeter.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just in general a little bit sweeter.
Adds that little flavor of its own to the mix.
I don't believe there's a price difference between the two.
Oh, I think, yeah, those distilled vinegars are pretty darn cheap.
Dead cheap.
By the way, the mash from my wine, I've set that aside to make a peach vinegar out of that. Yeah. So my country wine has been cruising along from last week. If you guys saw that last week, I've got my country wine, oh gosh, I would say filtered into a big bottle. And now it's just kind of going through its second stage of fermentation. So you just added 2 parts of vinegar and 1 part of water to the pot, it seems.
I did. Didn't measure out really. So now we're going to kind of do scene change on our spices.
So you're just over there picking and choosing what's going in the next one. I like it.
Yeah. So a couple of things. I've got my mustard seeds here because they're not pickles without mustard seeds. I'm going to do a little bit smaller amount, maybe 2 teaspoons.
Ladies and gentlemen, the word of the day, mustard seeds.
Mustard seeds. Don't go crazy with the cloves, but you don't have bread and butter pickles without cloves. I use the whole clove, just like 4 or 5. Again.
4 or 5. I often ask my, students, hey, don't worry about, 8 to 10 peppercorns. Don't sit there and count them. But in the case of cloves, ladies and gentlemen, please count them. You don't want to go overboard with those things.
Because as much as the food will still be edible, you won't be able to feel your tongue anymore. And that kind of removes the joy of you've officially added too much flavor.
They used clove oil to deaden the dental pain in the old days.
I told my students about that. Allspice. So when it comes to winter baking, we tend to use this ground. If you haven't seen them whole, definitely maybe 4 or 5 of those. These are going to kind of break down in the boiling process, but then they're also going to add flavor because you can't make refrigerator pickles today and eat them today. They need time to really go through. My last little addition instead of black pepper, I have grains of paradise, which I think are amazing. So these are an ancient American trick. Before we got black pepper from the East Indies, this is what the United States, like before we were the United States, was using for pepper. Yes. Sam Adams advertises that this is the secret ingredient in their beer. It has kind of a sweeter, earthier spice. In one of Alton Brown's apple pie recipes, this is the secret ingredient. So it's just a little bit different.
Super mild, kind of a woody taste, like an intense woody taste at the end.
I feel like it also has like a little bit of zestiness to it.
I could see that.
Yeah.
And some cloviness. Can you shout that name out again?
Grains of paradise.
I'm loving all of these different peppers that you're bringing to the table today. That's, I think, hey, maybe the word of the day ought to be peppers.
All the fun stuff.
I love it because, like we just said a minute ago, so many people are just locking into black pepper all the time. And that does have a little black peppery afterburn. It's really reminiscent of that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So it's nice to think about peppers beyond just peppers.
Oh, it is so good to get out of my own kitchen once in a while. This is so great. Thanks.
Great.
I feel like I'm getting a private class, ladies and gentlemen.
So,
and so are you.
Yes. I'm so glad you guys are here. So I went to the Oak Park Farmers Market Saturday. I mentioned that I got the garlic from there. Also from 6 O'Clock Farms, I got an assortment of peppers. So they threw in, I always forget what these guys are.
Those are little Anaheims.
Anaheims, thank you. Jalapenos. I'm not sure if these are actually habanero-ish. I think they're sweet.
I think those are sweet peppers.
I'm leaning towards sweet. So I'm going to cut some of these up. I'm going to leave the seeds in. I'm just going to trim the tops.
That's just the way I did last week too.
Yep, because you know, if we're trying to get a little more flavor and a little heat, we want those seeds.
I have to report my my jalapeno hot sauce that I did last week. I threw a little wedge of preserved lemon in it and garlic, and that's all that's in there other than salt. And it tastes like a jalapeno. It's got like a charcoal flavor to it. I don't know what's going on, but evidently those flavors together taste like charcoal. Tastes like it's been charred. Fascinating.
Well, I feel like char and pepper are kind of hand in hand.
Oh, it's delicious, actually. It's really good. I'm afraid the fermentation is going to change it, though.
I think Nathan posted a picture on Industry Group about his, maybe it was Nathan. I'm not sure if it was someone else. They just got in a case of hatch chilies, and they're going to be roasting them.
I saw.
Where did we see that, folks?
It was Nate.
Nate. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what? Anyone that is committed enough to have peppers shipped to them, I'm down. That's
how it used to be, though, ladies and gentlemen. We had to smuggle hatch chilies. As I recall, I remember them. You know, somebody had come back from a trip with a burlap sack full of hatch chilies.
I didn't know about hatch chilies till I lived in Denver.
Oh, there you go.
And you would go to the farmer's market and they would be roasting them right there. And the smell that would just flow over the parking lot.
They have like trailers out there, right?
Yeah.
Just roasting them.
Oh, yeah. Roasting away.
Awesome. Okay, so gosh, look at all those ingredients over there.
Yeah.
Getting your mise en place all laid out. And all of that is really, it looks like it's going to be kind of garnishes going into your jars, isn't
They're
it?
going to be beautiful, but they're also going to add flavor. So we've got the dry chilies, we've got the fresh chilies, the garlic, the onions. All of that is going to work both with the sweet kind of dill, the bread and butter, but then also I'm going to put in some of the chilies with the dill, because why not? Who's
Did
gonna
you,
stop me?
you didn't really remove much of the seeds or any of that stuff from those peppers.
Okay. So I can't get enough of farmers markets. They're like, some people go to therapy. I go to farmers markets.
I love them. I love it.
And I've been doing it forever. I grew up going out to Denio's. My parents were out there. And so Denio's was the place long before there were farmers markets. My parents would give me $20 and be like, go get produce. Go amuse yourself.
Yeah. It's a good way to, well, it was a good way to occupy you.
Yeah. So it was perfect for me. That was as close as I got to unsupervised fun. So let's kind of spread these between the two. So I found these awesome little baby carrots. They are gnarly and just cute.
They're chonk.
They're
They're
chonky.
chunk is what they are. I love them.
So I haven't used these before for the Firecracker carrots, but they'll be perfect. You can use like the little baby carrots that you get from the grocery store. I always feel like for some reason I'm losing out on some nutritional quality from those. I don't know why.
Oh, because they're already, you talking about those little bunny loaves, the little stubby things. Yeah, everything's all processed away. They've been soaked in water and probably have antioxidant chemicals on them.
Who knows? I don't want to guess. Yeah. You just get gut feelings. It is okay in your own kitchen to work off of gut feelings.
What's the old saying? If your great grandma wouldn't recognize it, don't eat it, right?
That's true.
Your great grandma would really not realize that's a carrot.
Okay, so these grandma would totally recognize as being carrots.
I believe so.
I sorted through a bunch of carrots to find these little babies. I was talking to the farmer and he said, those are the last we have. We're going to see if we can get more next week. And I said, oh, they're just so cute. I just can't stand it.
Who's the cutest little carrot ever?
Cutest little carrot ever. So I'm going to do the chunky ones as with a bread and butter brine, or actually with the firecracker brine. And then I'm going to do these others, the pretty little delicate guys with a dill brine, because my birthday's in October and I am doing a little quarantine birthday party for myself. And one of the courses is going to be a cheese course. And I've got some Cornichon that I pickled a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
I intentionally picked little baby cucumbers.
Were they pickling cucumbers?
They were pickling cucumbers.
You gotta bring it full circle.
Oh my goodness. So the idea of having some little dilly carrots to go with those that are going to be all sexy and cute and little and perfect.
Yeah, I love it.
So see how there really isn't any science in here? You're just trying to get everything under the rim. And the rim I always think of as kind of the threads.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When you're actually preserving, like with heat in a water bath, you really want to make sure that the rim is really clean. But we're not really worried about that here. These are going to be hanging out in the refrigerator. And the number of canning jars in my refrigerator is embarrassing. I'm sorry.
Well, we won't try to look in there if it's going to embarrass you.
Yeah, well, I mean, the thing is that if a jar doesn't seal in the water bath, then you can't keep it on the shelf. You have to keep it in the refrigerator. So I have a big jar of poached pears, little Seckle pears that were cored and peeled. Thank you, Michelle. Could not have done it without you. You're amazing. We sat at this table with, it felt like a massive amount of pears, and we peeled and we cored and then we poached and then we canned.
Delicate ones though.
There, I have to show you.
You have to show us, yeah.
Yeah, they're.
Oh, Adrian, we're not having fun.
So this is a quart jar.
Just beautiful though.
And look at that little baby pear. I'm telling you, come Christmas time. Oh, there we go. Come Christmas time, that is going to make the sexiest little dessert, or even Thanksgiving.
Cut a little wedge out of it.
Yes, or a little poached pear tart with it standing straight up.
Oh my gosh. Beautiful.
Next weekend, we're having a little 2-couple wine dinner over to a friend's house. I'm going to be turning some of these that are frozen, because I did not have enough jars. I'm going to be turning some of these that are frozen into sorbet with some of the coaching liquid. So
so all the sugar's right there for it. You just get the right ratio of pulp to liquid.
Yeah, throw it in the food processor, call it a day. Okay, let's tidy up the area.
Oh yes, tidying up. Gotta have a scene change here. Ladies and gentlemen, Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour here. We are doing TurboPickle 2.0 with Chef Carissa Jones. And don't forget, throw some questions out at us. You got a couple of chefs here, and we're having a little bit of fun. But yeah, we might be able to answer a question or two that you guys throw at us. So yeah, please do. Let's see, she has got some beauties lined up there, I will say. Look at that.
So the reason why I'm not talking about the Firecracker pickle brine quite yet is because I only have 2 pots. This is home. This isn't work. Okay. I've got the big pot for the dill. I've got the smaller one for the B&Bs. We'll get to those later. In the meantime, we can get them packed up.
We got lots of time. Gosh, what's that funky vegetable, Chef?
A little fennel.
Fennel is so great. Look at how many different parts of the plant you can use.
Oh, yeah.
I just
Fennel
love it.
is underrated. Anytime someone's like, oh, I don't like fennel, I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
It is not underrated
here.
according to this guy.
Eat it again. Maybe you'll like it this way. Oh, you don't like it that way? Okay, I'm going to make it for you again. See if we can get you to like it this other way. Yeah, my mother's one of those. God love her. And she is patient with me, force feeding her fennel on a regular basis.
It looks like you're, I was just going to say, it looks like you're picking out the prettier stems to throw in as a garnish.
Yes, yeah, and then I'm trimming the root end a little bit. Yeah.
Stabilizing the table.
It's okay.
We could give them a little backstage talk.
So I'm thinking that the sweetness from the fennel, I'm going to be putting in a little bit of orange zest. And then the brininess that we're going to be using, and I'm going to use the sweet pickle brine on this one, would be really great with some fresh oranges, or even maybe, I don't know, maybe I'm just getting stuck on color, maybe persimmons or something, come the fall.
Okay.
But definitely, like when we hit citrus season, doing something like this with bitter arugula or a delicate endive, any of our chicories, is going to be nice because you're going to get different flavors and different textures. You're going to get the brightness, you're going to get the sweetness. You're not going to have to worry so much about the acidity because you're going to have acidity in the pickles.
It's going to be there, yeah.
And it's always nice to have kind of edible surprises because life is predictable enough.
There, beautiful. Look at that. So we're just doing pickled fennel and that fennel citrus, ladies and gentlemen, classic combination.
One of my favorite salads is a fennel and grapefruit.
Wait a minute, chef. You can just use your peeler to get orange zest.
Look at that.
Big old chunky pieces.
Almost no pith. This is awesome.
Yeah, some peelers will dig a little too deep on it, but if you get the right peeler, it just gives you the perfect slice.
Yeah, so this is a harp peeler because it kind of looks like a harp. I love these. I use them all the time. They are my go-to. My mom has a Meyer lemon tree because doesn't everyone's mom in Sacramento have a Meyer lemon tree? And so I sit down with a bag of lemons and I peel all the zest. And then I juice all of the lemon and I freeze the lemon juice. And actually, as I was doing quarantine kitchen, I went into the freezer and I found some Meyer lemon zest. So threw some vodka on that. And again, preservation.
It's the only way
holding on to build the flavor. Yeah. And I didn't know what I was going to do with it at the time last winter when I was peeling all of those lemons, feeling ridiculous. But then I threw some vodka on it. All I have to do is add some simple syrup, which in case you're not sure, 50-50, sugar, water. And I have limoncello, which is like the most refreshing summer beverage ever.
Oh my gosh. Ladies and gentlemen, we are getting so drunk after this. I am going to drink that whole bottle of limoncello without the simple syrup. Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. Okay.
So also, gift giving.
Yes.
Christmas time.
Christmas time is coming up. I mean, you could do all of that work now.
Yeah.
And have it there for Christmas time. And by the way, during a quarantine, what's better than getting some food as a present, right?
Yes.
Something you can actually eat, something to sustain you.
The only
nothing better. Yeah.
Food is good, but food that other people make is better. Don't be afraid to cook for chefs. By the way, shout out. Don't be afraid to cook for chefs.
Oh, did you want me to shout out?
No, in general.
Ladies and gentlemen, please don't be afraid to cook for your chefs, okay?
Yeah.
They cook all day long for people, and people are always like, oh, we're so nervous to have you over. We want food too. We like to sit down and have other people cook for us.
What do we eat at the end of the day? We eat Jim Boys. We eat cereal. It's depressing.
Maybe back before semi-retired.
Well,
but yeah. But
I mean, it's been a long time.
Bagel dogs. I don't even want to know.
Oh, no.
And lots of beer.
Oh, everything's better with a beer at the end of the shift.
Liquid bread.
Yes.
So check this out. Okay, so that second jar you just did with the fennel is a lot of orange peel. It's a lot of the fennel frond, And it's just a little bit. Okay, so
Yeah,
you're
we'll-
evening
we'll
things
even
out.
it out.
Couple of, okay,
Steal from Peter, give to Paul.
I see.
Yeah, there isn't a
Truth.
direct correlation to that one.
Oh, yeah. I love this idea of Christmas presents. So is Diane. She is liking that idea as well.
Yeah, and my friends and family are like, give us jam. But you know what? Not everyone wants just like sugar, fruit,
No.
fruit.
Sometimes they
something.
want a little kimchi.
I go, yes.
Stick up their house.
I had to jump in, Dave. I heard you hear beer.
Oh, oh my gosh. Mike Jones is here, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah.
Aren't I lucky?
If anybody knows about beer, Mike could tell us a little bit about beer.
Isn't life a little bit better with a beer first thing in the morning in the shower?
Oh, that's very German, I think. Taking your shower and drinking a beer for breakfast.
Just be careful with the glass in the shower, but
Yeah,
nothing's better
safety.
than breakfast beer.
Safety first.
Yeah. That's why
Safety first.
I still wear shower clogs to this day. Mike Jones, everybody. He'll be here all week.
Okay, I have to let you guys in on a little bit of my geekiness.
Oh, wow.
So I'm a huge fan.
That's why I came.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the list.
Look at that.
I want to make sure that I don't forget things. So we've got dill pickles, like partway done. We've got B&B's partway done. We've got Firecracker partway done. Dill carrot partway done. Yeah, we're making progress, but we're not finishing anything quite yet. That's okay. I always refresh, kind of go back to my list. Where am I at? Where am I going? Well, let's touch base and make sure we stay on track.
Ladies and gentlemen, kitchens around the world, they work off of their whiteboard just like that. And if one person checks something off the front of that thing, everybody else knows that person, somebody has started that job and they're not going to start it too, right?
Yeah.
Everybody can communicate through that thing. We don't even have to talk to each other. Chefs don't want to talk to people,
Well,
much less each other.
I'll talk to people in the back of the house. I only talk to people in the front of the house if I really have to.
Oh my gosh.
I remember the first time I got called out to a table. Customer wants to talk to you. Oh God, I just about swallowed my tongue. So also from 6 O'Clock Farms.
Oh,
I
this
got
was from
these.
6 o'clock or
No, the okra.
6 o'clock?
No.
6 o'clock.
6
Okay.
o'clock. Yeah,
Okay,
6
they're
o'clock.
doing
On Saturday.
I just love these the two color pods.
Yeah.
It's just so beautiful.
They totally attracted me. And I really love their pricing because it's super easy. It's like 2 for $5. Pick 2 of anything, it's $5.
Yeah. and
One of
it's all
anything's
kinda-
gonna be 3, but pick 2.
It's kind of portioned for you. It's really slick how they do it.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna kind of make this pretty, alternate these. I want to make sure that the okra aren't too big. I did some earlier in the season and I really had to trim them down, which made me sad because I really like kind of that sexy pointiness of the
chonk.
okra.
We've been talking about it. I think
Yeah.
chonk's got to be the word of the day. It keeps coming up.
You and your word of the day.
Oh my gosh,
Oh
you
my
gotta have a
goodness.
word of the day.
Okay. I'm not
Coming in the fall lineup, game show. Industry.
Yeah.
Cooking Classes Network. Oh, you better believe it.
Okay. So
I was going to ask you, are you going all point down?
I am. Just because I want this to be super pretty when I look at it in the side.
Okay.
Because this
So
would
it's
be.
not about jamming them in there as tightly.
Oh,
and
I'm gonna. Oh yeah,
efficiently
no,
as
I'm
you're
gonna
still gonna
jam them
okay.
in there. But yeah, I could do some point side up. But
Oh, I don't
yeah,
want to influence anybody now.
yeah, we can put some in the top. I think finding beauty in nature and in the natural shapes is underrated. I think people forget how beautiful nature can be sometimes.
And do you think it's weird that like your bowl of peppers over there, like at my own house, nobody's gonna come over, nobody's been there for months, and I'll sit there and arrange that thing just for me.
Oh, yeah.
Do you do that?
No, I have glass like apothecary jars that have all the peppers in them and
But I mean just like
Yeah.
a bowl on the table.
Oh,
Does
yeah.
she do that?
Yeah.
Like she
yeah,
does, huh?
yeah. We've got a sister bowl to this one that always has apples in it, and we have a big wooden bowl that always has like the onions and the garlic in it.
I
Keep
have
the
a wooden
tomatoes separate, and I like seeing it on the counter. Okay, so our pickles are packed, our okra is packed. this one poor little lonely guy was just too big.
He's a prize.
He's a prize. Yeah, winner, okra
I
dinner.
told you I was going to have a game show. Tell us where you want to pick up your okra.
Oh my goodness.
Your one piece of ginormous okra, folks.
Okay. I have another shout out to make
Oh my
to
gosh.
Davis Ranch
Oh, yes.
out in Slough House.
Everybody's talking about them.
Okay, so on Tuesdays and Saturdays, they have You Pick. So I went out there, I guess it were like 3 weeks ago, and put a little hair on your chest, Dave.
I'm trying her
You just got
limoncello.
slipped a little bit of the limoncello.
I did, yeah.
I don't know how much simple syrup my sweetie pie added in there. So it is, I have heard rumors that the price may have gone up a little bit, but they weigh your car when you go in, they weigh your car when you go out, 35 cents a pound. Even if it's 40 cents a pound, you get to get in the field, wear your grubby clothes. I still have Davis Ranch dirt all over my tennies. It is what it is.
This is where you want to go if you want to have pickle parties,
Yeah.
people. And nobody judges about your pickle parties that you have in your own home.
Yeah.
But if you want to get into this kind of stuff, Davis Ranch out in Slough House, everybody's talking about this. You can get out there, get mass quantities of produce for super cheap, and put together your Christmas presents, right? Or put together enough food to get you through this quarantine and maybe the next one.
Yeah. So I got some Jimmy Nardello peppers. And the cool thing about Jimmy Nardello peppers is they are on the Slow Food Arc of Flavor list.
I love it.
I was reading through the list and I was like, oh, Jimmy Nardello's.
We have them all the time around here.
Yeah, and they are hard to find except when they're going, and they're really going. So I'm just gonna kind of do a little mix of peppers here. These guys were getting a little shrivelly, mostly because, you know, there's only 2 of us at home and I can only eat so much pickled veg.
I gotta say though, you start getting, you know, shrivelly product or something, what do you do with it? You pickle
You
it.
pickle it.
You pickle it. What else are you gonna do, right? That's what this is all about. Look at these colors she's laying down for us, folks. I can't believe the variety and beauty she's throwing down. This is just what we were talking about. It's just how beautiful natural produce is.
Yeah. No, I am all about those little bits of color. Doesn't have to be fussy. Doesn't have to be fussy.
I don't
to
see
have
any
good flavor.
fussiness going on around here.
Yeah.
Not at all. This all looks like down home cooking. Cooking with love.
Speaking of which, I wonder how our pickle brines are going.
Oh,
I didn't turn them on high. Let me. Oh.
I see a little simmer going over there.
Yes, we've got some steam on the B&Bs.
I've been too engrossed in the show over here to watch your stove for you, chef.
Okay.
Here she goes.
So before we
Look at
get too far into this,
That's a big honking knife you got.
yeah.
I ain't afraid to say.
We're always talking about tasting our food, so we can adjust. I'm gonna taste my brine. Don't burn yourself. Oh, you know what I forgot to put in? I forgot to put sugar in.
Ladies and gentlemen, yet another reason for tasting your food.
Taste
Isn't this
your
awesome?
Food.
So this was the bread and butter pickle then, huh?
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Is there kind of a ratio of sugar to liquid for this guy? What do you think?
I would do like,
More of a taste thing?
yeah, I'm gonna do a cup. That was a cup to like a quart of vinegar. Speaking of which, now's a good time to double check in on our pickles because we have some serious water going on.
Oh, wow.
So these are our dills. Look at all that
Check
water.
out. Look at it.
And we have only been at this for what? No, about 50 minutes.
I gotta say, you use a ton of salt compared to me. It's,
well, we're
the
gonna
water's really
wash it all
flowing
away.
out. Yeah,
we're gonna
yeah, the
wash it
water's-
away.
water's really flowing out.
Salt's cheap.
I think this is also a good time to warn everyone. Hot vinegar, don't breathe it in. It'll take your breath away and you'll be sorry. Okay, folks? This message has been brought to you by years of experience.
Okay, I'm gonna cut up the last of these little peppers. And yes, I could have totally put these little baby ones in whole. That would have been kind of cute. Kind of having a moment of remorse.
Chef.
Yes, yes.
I had my hand up
Yes,
back
Mr. Nelson.
Yeah. Chef Adrian, she wants to know if you stick with granulated sugar, if you played with other sugars.
Yeah. So I have not used coconut sugar, but I have used like the turbinado, the raw sugar. And in the, let me see, one of the recipes. Oh, you know what? In the fennel, we are going to throw a little bit of honey in there.
Ah, that's nice.
To which we say, Mike Jones, yes, dear. Anytime
Yes,
we
dear.
say honey in this house, you say, yes, dear.
It's a thing, okay?
So stinking cute. You guys can throw up on your own time.
Well, it looks like Mrs. Sandy Nelson is out there watching this. My beautiful, beautiful trophy wife. Oh, by the way, she did remind me to say hello to you. By the way.
Hi, Sandy. Okay.
She's been graphic designing her little heart out all through the quarantine, I'll tell you.
Okay, so we've got
what do we got?
our slices. I think now is a good time, especially since our brine is ready. Our slices for our bread and butters.
Awesome.
So I am going to drain this and give it a good rinsey poo. And we will.
And that's actually a culinary term, folks. That's what we all say.
Yeah.
Rinsey poo. All kitchens. It's universal.
Yes.
If you want to fit in with chefs.
You don't just have to swear like a sailor.
Exactly. We all talk very cutesy. All right, Yolanda's out there. Good to see you, young lady. All right, looks like she's shaking it on out over there.
Okay, note so that you don't like dribble all over yourself and your counter and your floor. Put the colander back over the bowl, the dirty bowl.
Or do like me and just try and move really fast. It never works. But someday, if I move fast enough, there won't be any drips on the floor.
So, I officially ran out of canning jars just now. But I never really run out.
Oh my gosh.
Because I have problems.
You're the one that's been buying up all the jars.
Yeah. So everyone talks about like how to find affordable jars. The most affordable source I have found, and they ship to your home for a very small fee, if any at all, Target of all places. Price per jar is less than $1 for their pint and half pint jars, which is kind of nice. I'm cheap.
Poking around there the other day and looking at them too.
Yeah, I have no problem saying that I'm super cheap. Now, you see that I'm breaking these out of a brand new case. They are factory clean. If I was doing this anywhere else, I would probably make sure that they run through the dishwasher.
Run through the dishwasher or something, but just for us, we're just throwing vinegar on there to.
Just for me.
Yeah, the vinegar is essentially going to be sanitizing things.
Yeah. Nothing can survive in that 5% acidity environment.
I think if you dropped us in there, one of us in there, I don't think we'd survive very long.
No.
We'd be
Pickled human.
We'd be pickled, we would.
Oh, another way to get in with chefs.
Get them pickled?
And
yeah.
Speaking of affordable canning jars, one thing we also realize is if you give pickled preserves to neighbors, suddenly you find out neighbors who have cases of pickling jars sitting around.
And in their garage or.
This is exactly what I want to get into is we're in these crazy times now, that idea of bartering. You start laying in a bunch of pickles. Maybe you don't want so much pickled, okra or something, right? It's not for everybody, but you can certainly lay it on a neighbor and mix and match, trade. It's a way to get through, and it's a way to kind of have almost a virtual community or something a little bit more than virtual.
Well, yeah, and you don't just get through, like you are enjoying yourself. I have one neighbor that gifted me 6 cases of canning jars. She's older. She's probably my grandmother's age. We see each other all the time. I take her jam. And she said, I thought I was going to use these. They were given to me. I'm not going to use them. Real talk. I'm just not. And I was like, yes, I will happily take
Yes.
them. Otherwise, they would have gone out during bulk waste, and they would have been gone. And yeah,
And look
there's
nowadays
no point.
that it pays off.
Yeah.
Everybody wants them now.
Yeah.
A canning jar is a valuable thing to have these days.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
We're doing great. We're still going along. It's Quarantine Kitchen Happy Hour. And we are working on some bread and butter pickles right now.
And Dave, how was the limoncello with the simple syrup?
Well, I didn't want to say that I was over here drinking heavily, but the limoncello with simple syrup is quite refreshing. I keep having little sip sessions with it over here.
Yeah. So, yeah, Dave mentioned do not inhale as your, like, definitely have this over here and you standing like at the other end of your ladle.
And of course, while you're lecturing, you have to keep talking and breathing and all that.
No. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, my eyes are burning ever so slightly. I mean, my lungs are fine, but.
If you are congested, though, nothing will clear you out quicker than hot vinegar. You know, hot sour soup, I have found, is
a favorite of mine.
It does the trick, yeah.
Yeah.
If I'm congested.
So all of our spices, including our mustard seeds, all sunk to the bottom. So I'm just kind of.
The allspice berries are still floating. The cloves kind of still floating.
Fishing in there, yeah. And that really is all there is to that. Slap a lid on. Now you'll probably hear a little popping sound in the background. That is the canning jar sealing. That does not mean that the canning jar is safe for shelf storage. You still need to put it. This is all
refrigerator pickles.
Still refrigerator, but the heat is going to create suction and it's going to pull that down. It's a very satisfying sound, that little pop.
And we're probably going to hear it.
Pop.
I love it.
So I don't know if you guys can see, I still have quite a bit of brine left over.
Excuse me.
That's okay. Quite a bit of brine left over. I'm going to just put that into a separate container. Did you know that you can reuse brine?
I'll admit, I kind of knew that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I years ago, I bought some Sonoma brinery pickles. I was like, ooh, these are good. I must have reused that brine 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So you basically just cut your veggies up and go from there. The last time I made firecracker carrots, I saved the liquid.
Oh, cool.
So I am just going to pour it in and reheat it because I've already told you it's an Alton Brown recipe. So you are all capable of Googling.
There you go. Whoever he is.
Yeah.
So question, you're reusing a brine. Does each new batch of vegetable kick water into that brine, thus diluting it a little bit?
Probably, because water's in everything.
I mean, you're pre-wilting things ahead of time. I would think you would want to really wilt it. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, with the carrots that we're going to be doing for our firecracker carrots, I'm not doing anything to it.
Right. Well, this will be interesting.
Yeah.
This will be interesting.
I'm curious. I'm also leaving the tops on, and I know the tops tend to be a little bit bitter. So what's the worst that can happen? I spent like 85 cents on baby carrots. Yes, I'm showing a little disrespect to the farmer, but this is how we learn. We do experiments, and I'm curious to see what happens.
And your husband's going to learn something too, because he had a question. My grandmother taught me a pickled egg recipe in the past, and she always talked about reusing the brine, but she also said when you reuse it, you've got to add a little bit more vinegar, just a splash back into the mix.
And there we go.
There you go.
Grandma wisdom.
Okay.
Don't knock the grandma wisdom.
It just came to me, right? Because they're going to be kicking something out.
Yeah.
So this isn't a lesson. This is a discussion.
Always.
It's going both ways.
Between the two of us, we get into food discussions. It gets a bit heated at times. Yes, there are correct answers, but there's also like a lot of perception and a lot of opinion. And what do you like and what don't you like? So
what works for you in your little kitchen and your little world, whatever it is. Are you doing catering? Are you doing restaurant service? You know, they're different, completely different animals.
Awesome. I'm going to take 2 seconds to point out my shirt really quickly.
Oh, what's that?
So Homeboy Industries is a group. Yes, you can officially stare at my chest.
Let's just do that because that's what we're doing.
So Homeboy Industries is an outreach that is down in Southern California, and they take formerly incarcerated and gang members, and they help them with education and skills and social services and tattoo removal and social emotional health and mental health, and help them work with their whole family, treat them as a whole individual. They're doing lots of great work. Here in Sacramento, I run a culinary arts pre-apprenticeship at Juvenile Hall. And so I am working on creating a whole apprenticeship program so that after my students go and serve their time, they have someplace to come out to here in the community. So if you know anyone that wants to sponsor us or is curious about the work that they do, that we are going to try and replicate here, I am in this unique situation where I not only work with Sacramento County Office of Education, but I also work with Sacramento County Probation. And they are very supportive and very encouraging of what we're doing. And they love that the kids are learning how to cook. And so we're able to work with students all the way from junior high level, all the way up to 24. And so a lot of my students, a fair amount of them are currently serving time. So I have basically 2 years to get an apprenticeship together and create something so that as they start coming out, we have a way to teach them, get them skilled, and get them into kitchens, because restaurants are filled with their people. Can't tell you how often I've heard stories about wearing an ankle monitor or calling chef to get them out of jail or to make a call. Like, it happens all the time, and this is good work, and these are good people that have made some really bad choices. So we're working on creating this pathway for them. So Homeboy Industries inspires me. I always like to do shout out to them because I think the work that they do is valuable and invaluable, and really is contributing to everyone.
Well, you know, I have a giant hole in my heart shaped for those guys, man. They just fit right in everything that they're doing, and everything that you're doing down there at that little program, man. I know you're gonna do great things over the years. Those guys are really, really lucky to have you. It is really exciting.
It is exciting.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be a little like freewheeling here. I'm gonna put a little bit of honey in with my fennel. Not a lot.
Fennel, honey, and citrus.
Yes,
I mean,
dear.
is there
Yes,
a more?
dear.
Yes, dear. Sorry, Mike. But that is just the classic combination right there. And so now you're going to have a little sweetness in that one.
I'm gonna take a little bit of my bread and butter pickle brine. Just pour that over the top.
How easy is this? Once you got the hot brine,
Yeah, you're good to go.
and if you're artistic, like some people around here, unlike me, these things can be really beautiful.
Yeah, I'm
looks
artistic
like
within
a
a
jewel.
frame. Yeah,
Within a frame.
within a frame. I need some guidelines. Tell me what you want. I've got to get those.
I like that.
spices.
You know, I got to say, incorporating a little bit of the seeds, the mustard seeds and everything, it tells people that you've got a pickle going on.
Yeah.
It adds to the presentation. They actually taught me that in culinary school. If you pickle something, if you brine something, show the guts. Show those seeds off.
So we're going to have a lot of pickles going on. So one of the ways that I keep myself organized is I stack my pickles by variety, because I also do things like on my bread and butters, I'll put in some of those little chilies so that I can look for those and I know which pickle is what, because I might do dill pickles. I might do a couple of different ways.
This is cool. They're just all coming together now.
Boiling kills all of the baddies. Okay. Oh, dang. You know what I forgot?
We need a whiteboard.
Our bread and butters. We forgot all of the fun stuff.
Oh, we didn't put the fun stuff in them.
That's okay.
There's room in there.
I can fix that.
We'll just pour off a little brine real quick. And, yeah. Don't worry, folks.
Oh, wait, there's more. But now they're hot pickles. So.
Oh, I see what you're doing. Good call. Getting the fresh one.
Yeah.
Adding new stuff in.
Happens to everyone.
It's kind of fun fishing them out of there anyway. So she's going for a couple little onion slices. Beautiful. It needed more stuff. I'm glad we're doing this.
Yeah.
I'm glad we're doing it.
Yeah.
The chilies. And you were talking about the arbals, the chilies and the bread and butters just a second ago. Anyway.
Yeah, that's what reminded me. Because I was like, oh, chilies. That's how I keep dog. Man.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. This is,
Slices
pickles are pretty forgiving.
Yeah.
But we want all this stuff because it'll add more flavor.
And that was the name of the game last week, too, with the ferments. Those are extremely forgiving. In fact, as I said, you want a little funk in there. You want them to be a little funky. Let's see. Let's see. Someone's asking about the catering program at American Legion School. They are still there. That's Nena Rasul. That is the current instructor over there. And I think they have a new facility, don't they? Do you know much about that?
I don't know.
Okay.
American Legion School.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
over
have
in,
to
yeah.
educate
Right over in
myself.
my neck of the woods.
Oh.
Over there by the farmer's market.
I'm always curious to see what other people are doing. I'm
Oh my
really
gosh,
not
yeah.
a huge fan of reinventing the wheel.
Mm-hmm. I'm with you.
Speaking of which, I need to do a quick shout out to all of my high school teachers out there.
Can you believe them?
If you want to buy a Starbucks gift card for a high school culinary teacher or anyone teaching CTE, or they would not say no. We are all super stressed out about trying to figure out how to take what is essentially a hands-on curriculum and try and figure out how to teach it digitally. It is nightmare-inducing. I am not going to lie, I had a minor panic attack last week and just like threw my hands up in the air. I can't do this. What do you want from me, crazy people?
Is that what happened to the other half of the bottle of limoncello?
No,
comment.
I restrained myself-ish. But yeah.
If I can say, I mean, we're culinary teachers, and it's a very different world than teaching math. We're not showing up with a bunch of numbers on a page. We have a perishable product to teach about. We have these cooking techniques. We have timing. Not everything works. How do you teach a high school class about yeast bread when it takes a 50-minute class when it takes 3 hours to do a yeast bread, maybe from start to finish if you're lucky. If you have the nice proof box and everything.
Not to mention time management and teamwork and all of those kind of
interpersonal
skills, which are super important.
Especially in an environment with you.
Yeah,
yes,
my students are desperately in need of learning how to work with people they don't like. No, fighting is not always the solution.
Yeah, so it's very tough.
Yeah.
I am amazed by the job that high school teachers do. In the times before, it was an extremely tough job, and nowadays it's making me crazy because I'm on the sidelines watching it from afar, and you guys are all still out there.
Yeah, we're holding it together. We've got a couple of people who have put together some really inspiring Facebook pages full of useful, valuable, creative thinking. Again, so we don't have to reinvent the wheel all over again. But it is an impossible task. And the sooner people can stay at home and we get this figured out and we do what has to be done, the better.
Oh, yeah. All right, a little scene change there. That was a rant.
Yeah.
From Chef Carissa Jones. And if she still has a job tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't bad. I'm teasing.
Did I mention Teacher of the Year? That would be embarrassing.
Yeah, that would be embarrassing. Okay, so next we're going into these carrots.
Okay.
Which flavor are we doing here? Is this Firecracker?
This is the Firecracker. Yep.
Look at that little chile in there.
Get in there, buddy.
All right. Nathan's out there.
Hello.
Anita's out there. Hey, girl. Boom.
Right.
Saw Mr. Brian out there. Oh yeah, we got some great Sacramento people tuning in here. Quarantine Kitchen.
Hopefully you guys are all maybe learning something, if not fun flavor combinations
And fun conversation, huh? It's not just about the cooking all the time. It's about the party in the kitchen, I like to say.
It's funny because I always say I'm the most boring person I know. I like eating. I like talking about food. I like teaching about food. I like reading about food. I like showing other people about food. I like trying new food. Yeah, one-dimensional. I like all that stuff.
It's like, you know, when you're eating dinner, you're having a conversation about what you're gonna have for breakfast, right?
So here's the other thing.
That's a food person.
That's a food person. My family for the longest time thought there was something wrong with me because I was already planning, like, we plan trips and I've got 3 days of menus and I've got prep lists and I've got shopping lists, and they're like, who are you?
You know, you're saying this to me and I'm like, yes, of course. I've seen how you entertain. Look at how you set this kitchen up. People, you haven't even seen half of it yet. We haven't even turned the camera around. Yeah, she ain't lying. I'll tell you, this lady, she knows how to entertain.
You're rumbling over here, honey.
Okay. Okay.
Wait, if you say honey, what do we say?
Yes, dear.
Yes, dear.
Sorry.
She's on camera, a little distracted.
Now we've got our dill brine. Now, I just remembered something that I almost forgot. Two things. One,
Look at all the stuff floating around in there. Oh my gosh,
the
beautiful.
dill.
Did you get that at Farmer's Market too?
I did not. I wasn't seeing anyone that had dill this week. But I did get bay and rosemary from our community garden here.
Oh.
So we've got them growing. We've got a huge bay tree, and we
Can
go
I get a
crazy.
stem of bay from you if you can get it real easy? Because
yes.
we need, it's that community barter thing.
Yeah.
And I just like the
Yeah.
flavor, people, the flavor of fresh bee, the flavor of fresh bee, the flavor of fresh bay. There's nothing like it. It is so good.
Yeah.
And it's going beautiful in these jars as well.
Woo!
Yeah.
Okay. Put some of that in there.
Gosh, who's going to help you with all these dishes at the end?
It's not too bad. It's the dishes over the next couple months.
Oh my gosh, isn't it just like, that's another thing, just being in your own kitchen. I'm sure everybody's with me on this. It feels like all you do is cook and clean and cook and clean and cook and clean.
Yes, I have a very understanding husband
Aw.
because he goes crazy.
And the cat helps her with dishes. No, he doesn't. Hey,
I'm still
cat.
trying to teach our cat how to vacuum.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, because he's afraid of the vacuum. I'm trying to get him,
Yeah.
if I can get him to love the vacuum, I'm thinking he may just vacuum someday.
We're still working on just knowing the name.
So-
Knowing his name.
So these are your dill carrots. The first one were your dill carrots for your birthday. Those are
Yeah.
your dill birthday carrots.
Yeah, cute little babies.
And then you got some, just a bunch of pickled, quick pickle chilies. And that last one, oh my gosh, ladies and gentlemen, it is dilled okra. That is really the only, one of only two ways that I can eat okra. I like it fried. I like it pickled.
Although I could probably deal with it in gumbo. Mostly because it's getting hidden
Just right
in
at
other
the end,
things.
and
Yeah.
It kind of helps thicken a little bit. Whew.
Come
I
on.
just want to point out how you just left all of those little green tops on there. They're going to pickle along with those carrots.
Yeah.
That's food. That's a part of the
Those are-
vegetable there. You can eat that when it's done.
So stinking cute.
See the little stacks of jars here, guys. We're making some progress here. Can you believe this? Look at this. I almost feel like it's been effortless.
It is not difficult. I think having a list and having a plan is super important. I'm gonna rinse the dill pickles at this point.
Okay, so she's got tons and tons of salt on those dill pickles. Those were spears. That was the first thing she cut. They're kind of bigger, so I guess that's maybe why we left them soaking longer than those slices. Those went super quick. So yeah, we're gonna splash a little dill brine on those guys. We got to check this list. It feels
we're
good to
making
cross things
progress.
off.
I
Yeah.
love crossing.
I love crossing things off.
You know what? I'm gonna grab a few spears of a couple of.
Now, when I always did my whiteboard in the kitchen, I would have like one half of an X when you start it, and when it was done, the other half. And that way you can still read the word too. You're not crossing the word out.
Yeah, because even after the item's done, we want to know, is it done?
Is it done? Is it tagged
partially
and bagged?
done?
Yeah.
Yeah, by the way, kitchen tools that no one ever talks about. Sharpies. And I know it sounds silly, and tape.
You know,
I have masking tape and Sharpies right here in my home kitchen because I can't remember anything.
there you go.
Yeah.
I especially in pickling, right?
Oh,
I had my lovely trophy wife Sandy. She labeled all of my ferments because my handwriting is so bad. And you know, this is television, so it's got to be classy. How many kitchens have you? You know, I don't know about you, but I've been in a lot of kitchens with a lot of chefs that yell. Like when I was growing up, it was like the old European guys, you know. And how many chefs have yelled at me for not labeling or dating something, but wouldn't buy you a Sharpie? I gave you one 3 months ago, you know, and I just never understood that. You want your employees to do the job, you got to give them the tools they need to do the job.
and at the same time, I feel like it's an employee's responsibility to show up prepared. Like this is the job you're doing.
Yeah.
Like it's part of the uniform. And I remember when I was in cooking school, like your breast pocket of your chef coat was a notepad, spiral top notepad, and a Sharpie and thermometer.
That idea, the notepad, is something great. We've definitely talked about that a couple of times in these quarantine kitchens, right?
Yeah.
Take
notes.
I have about 8 of those books from different school situations and different, you know, job situations.
Yeah, I'm always telling my students, no one expects you to memorize everything. You've done this once, but I do expect you to take notes.
Nate's out there they're all talking about Sharpies now. Sharpies are the gold in the kitchen. I fought other chefs for the last Sharpie. That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I got stories about towels you would not believe.
Oh my gosh.
Ladies and gentlemen, you just don't hear this on the other shows.
Yeah.
You don't talk about this on Food Network, towel stories.
No, when I was setting up my student kitchen, I have Ziploc bags for each student. And in those Ziploc bags are a thermometer, a Sharpie, a pen, a roll of tape, and then I have the biggest bin of towels you have ever seen.
So for your program, you got to check that stuff in and out every day, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's something you might see on TV where, you know, in one of those situations, they have to check out a tool or something if they're working in a workshop or something. And so that's yet another thing that Chef Carissa has to manage in her day. It's amazing stuff. I'm
not gonna lie, I do rely on my probation staff to help me out with some of that.
You got some help in there, I hope.
Yeah.
Thankfully. You can't just do it all.
No.
You can't just do it all. You're trying to teach, for heaven's sake, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. I'm sitting here. I think my camera slid down while we were talking. Look at those beautiful spears. My goodness. You really did cut them perfectly, the perfect length, didn't you?
Well, not gonna lie, I shopped for the pickles that were the correct length.
So then, ladies and gentlemen, we should point that out. When shopping for pickles, pickling cucumbers, I should say, I did it. I called them pickles.
I know.
When shopping for cucumbers, bring a jar along.
Yeah.
Right? Or a measurement of some kind, so you know.
You know one thing that you always have with you? Your hand. So the jar is going to be from like your finger, the base of your middle finger, to the end of your hand.
Yeah.
So you're getting pickles that are kind of right in there, and you're going to be cutting off the ends. So use units of measurement that you're not going to have to worry about, that you aren't going to have to think about.
Or maybe tattoo a ruler on your forearm. It could be used for all kinds of things. If we all have rulers on our forearms, think of how easy life would be.
Okay, let's take a quick look at our list.
Heck yeah, I'm loving it.
Dill spears, B&B slices, firecracker, dill carrots, fennel onion. So once we get going, we can really bang stuff out. I am going to talk about, we'll do our red onions for Taco Tuesday and our creme fraiche.
I love it.
I don't know how many of of you guys have ever seen creme fraiche or know about creme fraiche, but
or have seen the South Park episode.
I never
Look it up, folks.
I'm afraid I don't know that one.
Oh, you got to see it. You'll love it. You'll appreciate it. Yeah.
So creme fraiche is basically cream, gone off cream. And so I intentionally made this go off. Yesterday, I took this lovely little jar and I put cream in it. And then I put in a indeterminate splash of buttermilk. And now we have this loveliness. Now that chunkiness doesn't look super yummy, but telling you, that is gorgeous. And the nice thing about this is that it has nice acidity to it, and it has that super creamy texture of the heavy cream, but it has a nice little pop of acidity.
Let's go backwards in time and talk about like what's making it set up like that.
So the bacteria
from
the buttermilk are absolutely, so this is kind of like a cross between fermentation last week and the pickling this week.
Yes.
We're taking a ferment that's already out there that you can purchase at the grocery store, and then you're adding it into another product and you're creating a third product. So again, this is something that chefs do all the time. One of my favorite things to do with the creme fraiche is lightly whipping it up, because that cream is in there. You've got all that fat, so you can aerate it a little bit, and doing a nice big fat quenelle on top of a lemon tart. So you're getting like brightness, sweetness, creaminess. It's just all of that balance and that loveliness that we really like from pastry.
And something like a lemon tart, it really, this is straight cream we're talking about. We should say it, right?
Oh, yeah.
And so playing that against a lemon tart where you've got that acidity, I'm always talking about that fat acid balance, and that's what it is right there. Beautiful stuff. Also that creme fraiche, other applications in the hot kitchen, if you're ever finishing dishes with like, say, a sour cream or something like that, creme fraiche is what you really actually want to be using. This stuff doesn't clump up, it doesn't separate when it hits hot liquids. It's really, really nice to work with. And it's, like she said, it's got that tangy flavor to it. It's really, really nice.
Hey, do you have
Beautiful.
Onions?
Do I have onions? Oh, I moved your onions right there by the watermelon. So sorry.
No, you're fine.
I was getting a little jammed up back here, backstage here.
I know.
People are still talking about tape out there. When I was in school, I never handed the tape to a student because it would be gone. I was the only guy that still had taper, and I felt. And what I would do is just, I laid the tape out on a stainless steel table, and they could come up and write on it and then rip it up. Don't pick it up and then try and write on it, because it won't work, right?
And I'm super hardcore about making my students cut their tape so that everything looks neat and tidy. Integrity starts in small bites.
Mm-hmm.
And so forcing them to routinely do the same thing over and over again and proving that they are competent and able to do those little things over and over again, so important.
Well, we're all taught about attention to detail, aren't we?
Yes.
Right? Perfect little cuts, consistency. Every little cut looks the same, right? Look at all of these jars. Look how perfect and beautiful they look. That's what we're talking about, attention to detail.
Yeah.
You better believe it.
So
I love these conversations.
It's easy to geek out on this stuff. And we are not alone. Once you find people that are weird like you, it is so refreshing. Hey, you know. I've got my teachers that are weird like me. I've got my kitchen people that are weird like me.
It's always so fun just trying to get the onions peeled and all.
Well, and I tend to, everything in me wants to be super cheap and use every last piece of that onion. But you know what? I always wind up with like pickling some of the paper from the outside of the onion. So I just go like the next step and just go all the way.
Yeah.
And so
just
I might lose a whole chunk. That's all good.
There's that word again, chonk.
Chonk.
Or was that chunk?
Oh my goodness.
Word of the day. I gotta make that a thing. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm doing little jars so that I can send one home with Dave.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I can't possibly eat this many pickled
I should have
anything.
brought you some sauerkraut.
Oh, well, I know
Like
where you live.
Like you need any. You probably have so many jars.
I do not. Well, I trade for trade.
There you go. There it is again, that idea of that barter system. I'll trade you sauerkraut. I'll have some kimchi one of these days.
I know, yes. Well,
I'm
I
really
mean,
interested
traditionally.
in the radish greens in there.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really curious how those are going to turn out. I had a big old mouthful, but they weren't quite. I didn't have that fermented flavor yet.
Yeah. Well, my sisters were adopted from Korea. And so I remember when we were getting ready for them to come over here, it was, okay, we're going to try kimchi. Oh, dear Lord, what is this stuff? My poor little white girl mouth just couldn't deal.
Didn't I meet your sister?
You might have.
I think I did, yeah. I did.
But what I have discovered is I can handle spiciness as long as I have something cooling to go with it. So I can handle spice if I've got rice.
Yeah.
Or I can handle.
Or something acidic like yogurt or something, right? Yeah.
Exactly. So it was, for me, it was all like, okay, how are we going to do this? Okay. So I could just use one of the brines that we already have going. I want this to be a little bit sweeter because I want this to be, I want this to be a little bit sweeter and a little bit briny for tacos. So a little bit of our mustard seeds.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I like that little pot you have there.
It was one of my selling points.
He had some pots.
I came in here and he had a full set of all 5 pans and a hot rack, and I swooned.
Wow.
And knives.
Hear that, ladies?
You didn't get the knives till later.
Hear that, ladies? That's how you know.
I know.
That's how you know about a guy.
Couple allspice, and you know what?
And that was peppercorns too, I think, in there. I missed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some peppercorns. I'm just gonna put in. I mean, this is just for like tomorrow or maybe next week.
Ooh.
I'm gonna put in some nice fatty New Mexico chilies right in.
Oh my gosh, that's gonna be so cool.
Yeah. It'll be pretty. I'm gonna tuck in.
And you can take little, it's gonna be acidic. You can take little bits of that and put it on tacos and things. That's gonna be good.
Yes. Can
I
you
like
say
that.
carnitas?
Oh baby, that's good. I'm talking to the jars, not you.
Yeah.
Bay leaves in there. I love those fresh bay leaves. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay.
So Yolanda's asking, we did we're not doing a sweet pickle, Yolanda. We did a B&B. That's about as sweet as we got, I think.
So about half a cup of sugar.
And these onions are going to be a sweet pickle too, looks like.
Yeah.
I just found out.
Yeah, I do like pickled onions to be a little on the sweeter side.
And if I could say, when you pickle an onion, that red onion, all of those purple vegetables, they brighten up so much in acid. It's so cool looking. These are the onions you see on street tacos and stuff like that. They just freak out in acid. They really brighten up. Brighten up.
Speaking of which, most of these I was doing single flavor or single vegetable pickles. The very first time I made Vietnamese pickles, I put in cauliflower and radish and all the things, and everything turned pink because of the radishes.
Oh, gotcha.
And so definitely those red things, keep an eye out for. Excuse me.
Yeah, all this talking, huh?
And that vinegar.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, so we're going to take a slight detour, mostly because I have you as a captured audience.
Is this the talent portion of the competition then?
There will be no dancing monkeys. So we've been talking about both fermentation and the pickling as a way to preserve the bounty of the summertime.
Yeah.
So we can't neglect, because it's still summertime, and I don't know if Dave's going to get a bartender in here in time, but you can preserve all of that fruit with booze. So.
Oh yeah, right on.
Sorry, honey.
You guys got to see this.
Yeah. Okay, so I was given this Rumtopf bottle or jar. My father-in-law spent some time in the military in Germany. My mother-in-law is a trained German opera singer. And so we got this awesome little fruit preserved jar. And yeah, that's okay. So the basic philosophy is layers of fruit, layers of sugar, layers of alcohol.
If I could throw it out there, last week Johnny was asking me about one of these things, and I had never even heard of one. So I'm so stoked that you're doing one here. Yeah. This is so cool, Johnny. I hope you're watching. So
one of my friends and fellow culinary teacher, Stephanie Lamore, does not live far from me, and her peach tree was going crazy, and she gifted me with some peaches. I unfortunately got busy with, I don't know, grant writing or heaven knows what, and I lost track of time, and I thought, you know what, I don't want to throw these away. I want to save them. So I froze them. I just cleaned the peaches, froze them, called it a day.
I'm so glad you did. I think this is so cool.
Yeah. Yeah. So I've got Stephanie peaches. I'm going to sprinkle in some sugar. Now, the exact recipe asked for 54% rum.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
just
don't know.
54.
That's a little wimpy.
I got nothing. So I found 49.5% rum from Mexico and a 63% overproofed rum. I figure, mix the two together.
Yeah, the math works.
Ish. Yeah, I'm not the math teacher in the house, but
Let's
yeah.
see this label again. That's some quality rum.
Yeah, I almost bought the Stro rum, which was like 80%. I felt like that might have been a little excessive.
You don't want the thing to blow up.
Well, yeah.
You found Stro rum and you didn't tell me?
Yeah, Bevmo, go fight win.
So far, it's frozen peaches, which will not be frozen for long,
yes.
And it is rum.
And I'm gonna put some blueberries.
Oh wait, you can't put blueberries in this, can you?
I can do whatever I want.
Not
You're not the boss of me.
Not blueberries, please.
You're not the boss of me. Oh yeah.
Frozen pineapples?
No. So here's the fun thing. You don't need the fancy jar. I like that it's opaque so that light won't get into it, but you could put it under a kitchen or a bathroom counter or under the stairs or under the bed.
Like if you were in glass, you could
yeah.
Put it in a dark place.
Yeah.
Now you wouldn't want this to sit in like a warm place, would you?
Probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm gonna kind of press that down.
Look at her jamming it in there.
Jeez. There we go.
She's just jamming it.
So the instructions that came with this just basically said to layer it up with sugar and keep it covered in rum. Of course, the sugar is hygroscopic, so it's going to pull moisture out of the fruit. So I'll probably keep an eye on this and see if it needs more booze added to it.
And so is this ready in the morning?
Oh no, this is going to take 2 to 3 months.
I got to wait 2 and 3 months?
It's okay. It'll be ready just in time for Christmas.
So will it kind of develop it's got to develop some kind of fermented flavor to it and some personality.
I have no idea.
So we have no idea what's going to happen.
This is my true food science experiment for the day. I'm just giddy because you know what, rum and fruit, like really, how can that go
all
wrong?
That sugar, you're just.
Yeah.
So I imagine once it's done, you immerse your head in the jar and try and eat your way through.
So serving suggestions are bake the fruit into something, pour it over ice cream.
So like in a cobbler or something?
I think a boozy cobbler or ice cream, or freeze it, maybe turn it into sorbet because it's not going to freeze solid because of the alcohol of the sugar.
Or just slushies. Oh my gosh, a rum top icy machine.
Oh.
That one has a little pour spout on it.
Yeah, no, it's fighting me.
We could be here all day.
Pour spouts are against my religion. Sorry, Mom.
Did you get in? Is it?
Okay.
It's filled to the top.
Yes.
And you could probably like throw a vanilla bean in that if you wanted to,
yeah.
or other little aromatics and things like that.
Okay, I expect a little overflow. Maybe. Whoop, no.
Oh my gosh, and look at that
It's
top,
happy.
guys. So
It's
this is
happy.
just what Johnny was asking me about last week.
Yeah.
Johnny, I hope you're watching, girl. This is awesome. Look at her.
If I did it wrong, let me know. because
Oh my gosh, that is so cool.
this is a live and learn moment. Okay.
I don't know about you, but I would just stick my head in that jar and just eat my way through. I'd probably pass out halfway through. All that rum in there.
Well before halfway through. Like, I see
That's
the face
enough
you
for
made with the limoncello.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I guess that's enough for the whole family.
Yes. Yes. Hopefully quarantine will be done by that point. I
So
don't
we're,
come from a big family of big
Oh my
drinkers.
gosh, yeah. So now we're getting the brine onto those pickled sweet onions, pickled red onions.
And I did intentionally buy smaller onions. Mike was like, "Oh, we've got red onions at home," and I was like, "No, I want smaller ones."
That's what I did too. I mean,
Yeah.
I found some baby little red onions.
You're not the boss of me.
And it was a good thing because all those ones Mike was talking about are probably all have salmonella now. Right? We heard about that, right?
No, I missed that.
Yeah, there was a red onion salmonella scare this week. Yes.
Oh my goodness. Wash your hands.
I thought we were learning how to do that.
Oh, that's what they say. Okay.
Okay, there it is, all organized and stacked up. Did we check off everything on that list?
We did.
I think we did.
We are. Peace out, Cub Scout.
Boom, there it is.
Yeah.
Dill spears with garlic, mustard, peppercorns, B&B slices, red onion, chili allspice, firecracker carrots, dill carrot above. Wait a minute, what's that mean? Oh yeah, it is above. Dill carrots, fennel with orange, okra dill, creme fraiche. It's all there, ladies and gentlemen. Let me walk you around this fabulous kitchen and show you a few things. Can we kind of look over here now? Let's up the light content. That's a Hollywood term. Ooh la la. First of all, let's see these guys
So I have
from
some
another angle.
pickles that I did earlier in the year. Eggplant antipasto. If you're not sure about eggplant, this is really good. It actually has like some peculiar kind of like raisiny, like fruity characteristics to it. Very surprising. Great on just like crackers,
Is it
maybe
like a
some goat
caponata kind of thing?
Yeah. Yeah.
Very
Again,
cool.
for my Bloody Marys, pickled asparagus. Those were some of the last asparagus of the season. First round of pickled okra. First round of B&B. See the little peppers in there?
He's just poking his little nose out.
Yeah.
That's so cute.
And then dilly beans. We did not do dilly beans today, but we have to mention them because dilly beans are awesome.
I always think that yellow works so much better for these applications. Green just oftentimes doesn't like the vinegar.
Yeah, so we've got, these are just some other refrigerator pickles that I did earlier in the year. Some zucchini pickles. I had never had or heard of zucchini pickles before. Some dill pickle spears. I did a Friday and fried tempura battered and fried the pickles. Oh my goodness, they made me happy.
I bet so.
The B&Bs and then some of the dilly beans.
I bet the kiddos love that. Friday. Gotta love that.
The kiddos, that was in courtyard cocktail hour for me.
Oh, gotcha. All right, well, gosh, should we look over here?
Sure.
This is for the after party, I think, right?
Yes.
Tell us what you got. Make everybody jealous.
So, some copa that we bought. As you're exiting Davis Ranch, Michael Passmore with Passmore Sturgeon.
Friend of the show.
And caviar. I bought a whole sturgeon, so we've got a little smoked sturgeon. A little bit of smoked duck leg from Adam Pickles pop-up.
I was hoping that's what that was.
Some Nicasio, don't ask me, Nicasio Valley cheese. It is, here's the really.
A soft, ripened, deadly looking fellow.
Yeah.
Look at that. Look at that. That is so awesome. To food nerds like us, we're all just getting shivers right now. That's so cool. Look, I love how you just busted open your figs like that. Look at that, people. All natural chunk food, man. I love that.
I have gotten into making my own crackers.
Oh, those are beautiful.
So, fig crackers with pistachios, and then I made some sourdough the other day.
Those look like you buy those rainforest crackers. That's what that looks like.
I love those, and they I have to take out a second mortgage in order to rationalize buying them. And
yeah.
So why buy when you can make?
Oh my gosh. Well, I'm going to bring it to a close and we're going to throw down on all this stuff. Let's take one more glance. Boom, 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 boom. Looking good. Chef Carissa, thanks so much. And Mike Jones, look at him, folks. There he is, the famous. I am Chef Dave Nelson, and I just want to thank Chef Carissa Jones so much for laying this on down. It's so refreshing having someone else do a class. It's so fun. And to be able to sit back and ask questions, man, I had a blast today. I hope you guys did too. There's Stephanie Lamore. Girl, we're using your peaches right now. She's using your peaches. There you go. Yeah. Now back to it, folks. Don't forget, tune in on, let's see, next show is Monday. I am having Eric Veldman Miller, the mighty Eric Veldman Miller, at his little shop. We're going to take a walk around through his case and talk about what he's got and what to do with it, right? You know, what to do with those meaty cuts. Let's see, moving forward, I'm going to get into something else the next week. It's top secret so far. It's not confirmed, but I got a good one coming next Monday. You're going to like it. I think it's going to happen. Okay, so that'll be on the 17th. So tune into to be determined on the 17th. This is Dave Nelson. I'm having a blast here. I hope you guys had a great time today too. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, the party's always in the kitchen, and we're about to have one right now by going. Take care, and we'll see you. Whoop, whoop. Whoa. 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 Whoa.